Welcome inside the palatial WLC Media Center. Basketball season, it is, Coach. Basketball season is underway, hard to believe, and it's time for our men's basketball preview. High expectations for a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year for the second time ever. They're picked to win the conference again this year. And eighth-year head coach Aaron Aanonsen is with us. Appreciate the time. You're a hard man to track down. I know, because you guys are in the gym, you're with your staff and film and a lot of stuff going on. It's a busy time, so I really do appreciate it. Take me to the summer. First of all, how was your summer? Did you and the family go on some big trip or anything just to get away from basketball altogether? You do that at all with the kids?
We try to. Yeah. We did. But right now it revolves around my oldest daughter's club volleyball schedule. So we booked a dual trip to Las Vegas while she was playing. And then we went out to the LA area for a week and spent some time out there. Went on Catalina Island. Got away a little bit. It was fun. It's always good to get away. But when you have three kids, ages 11 through 17 in club sports, those of you parents out there know you actually never really get away. You go from one job to the next. Like I'll go from practice tonight to coaching my son right after at 7 p.m. for a 7 to 8:30 practice. So it never ends. That's the fun part about the stage of life.
How old is the son? What age group is that, Coach?
He's an eighth grader.
Okay. Do you coach eighth graders the same way you coach your college basketball team? Or does the style change as you drive from WLC to the grade school?
It changes, yes, and I actually think coaching those younger boys, I've been kind of helping out as the assistant coach since he's been in fourth grade. It's given me a really good perspective on things. I think it's made me a much better coach and teacher, being able to coach that age, get inside the mind of a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and now eighth grader, and then translating that, you really realize basketball is basketball, and although the ages are different, there's so many parallels you could draw from, me coaching on Sunday. I was the head coach last weekend, so it's pretty cool. Don't get that very often. But coaching eighth grades to college guys, so many similarities. But just trying to keep the game simple, trying to stay positive with them, trying to empower them to be great. There's a lot of correlations you can draw.
Are the fundamentals still taught at that younger level like they were maybe when you were in eighth grade? You know what I mean?
We don't even want to talk about when I was in eighth grade. These kids are so much more skilled than me. They can do so many more things with the ball. Just watching, our team play, it's amazing to see their skill set compared to the skill set I had when I was in eighth grade. But as you know, the game's different from 2024 to the 90s when I was growing up.
Right. Well, the team that you bring back here this year for Wisconsin Lutheran College has a lot of expectations on his shoulders. And it's all because of the work and the accomplishments of the past, certainly. Bringing back your 5 starters, bringing back 3 1,000-point scorers. I guess 30,000-foot question in that respect. How have you and this year's team gone about the expectations question? Have you even gone down that path, or does everybody kind of know what the goal is?
Yeah, we've embraced it. We've talked about it, but it's important that we kind of block out the outside noise now. You were with us at the golf final where we talked about the book read we're doing, which is Burn Your Goals, and just focusing a little bit more on the process. At times, though, it is hard. We have a big game coming up this Friday, and it's important that we have success and we do well. But just keeping our guys grounded, keeping them stuck to the process, I think that's what has gotten us here over the years, is not really focusing on always that end result, but focusing on how do we get better every single day so we're peaking at the end of February, early March.
When you bring back what you do for graduate students, in essence, 5 veterans, how do you coach them differently? Maybe I'm wrong in assuming that, so I'll step back for a second. Are you able to approach them differently, having an old crew around that if they were all younger, fresher, newer to the program?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yes and no. I think there are some constants of how we're trying to play. But I think, any coach, if he has a growth mindset, always can see how can we improve, how can we be a little bit better. So we're trying to improve in a couple key areas, few schemes that we think can enhance maybe our ability to be successful on the offense and the defensive end. And yeah, trying to give these guys a little bit more freedom, a little bit more latitude to just go play free. That's obviously a delicate balance of trying to get them to play fast and free and also be very efficient on the offensive end, because we do a lot of statistical analysis in our program, and there are metrics that show you how you can be successful as a basketball program. But at the same point in time, we got to make sure we allow these guys the freedom to just go be the best versions of themselves.
What's your favorite metric? Because you're right, there is so much data, and with each passing year, there's more info available to coaches. Is there one particular number that you really like to bore into?
We have a few, that we can tie into that determines how successful we think we can be, and a lot of that is field goal percentage, offensive and defensive. What we're shooting, what we're giving up, what are our rebounding margins, what is our offensive rebound percentages, what's our assist to turnover ratio, what are our turnover margins, are we forcing more than we're committing. So there's a few different things that we will utilize that you can see in a box score that generally helps us determine how we're playing.
I've asked this of other coaches because regardless of the success or the lack of success in the prior year, many times whatever happened that prior year can serve as a catalyst for the next season, if you have everybody back, if you have nobody back. And I'm curious, having gone to the NCAA tournament last year and falling in overtime at Wash U, do you guys hearken back to that experience? Have you used that as a catalyst for you and for these returners to do something even more special this year? Or is that completely kind of
I think we've talked about it. We've acknowledged it. I think it did a couple things for us. I think, if anything, it probably fueled us a little bit. Walking out of that locker room, walking out of that gym was hard because we talked a lot about we were going down to St. Louis not to just enjoy that experience. I know that was probably bold coach talk, right, which you don't hear a lot from me, but I wanted to instill the confidence in our guys that whenever we take the court, we're trying to win. And couldn't have been any prouder than our efforts, than our intentionality, and we just some things that didn't go our way. The guy behind the camera right there always likes to joke and say we shot 4 for 14 from the free throw line, right? Little uncharacteristic.
He reminds you of that?
He might remind me once in a while. That's okay, right? It's a fun joke, but if anything, I think what it does is it validates that we belonged, right? And Wash U is a historical program. They're always in the top 25, top 10 in the country. And we had opportunities to win, and we had opportunities to advance. So you can always look at every situation in one lens or one perspective. And I think we're trying to focus on the fact that we did well. I think we still left some meat on the bone for next year. And I think it's hopefully been able to fuel some of our guys to say, hey, we can do more this year if we can even get to that point.
Do you sense that hunger in these guys? I mean, when you have multiple 1,000-point scorers and Ryan Breckles won every award this conference has to offer, and Stoltz and Getz, and Heffley and Voss and on and on, do you sense that in those guys as well?
Yeah, I do, but I think, again, what people sometimes forget, and I think our guys forget too, is winning is really hard. And I think there's been a short window here where we have won 4 conference titles in 5 years. I was just hanging out with an alum this morning from my first year coaching. We were reminiscing about the good old days, right? And I don't think people realize how hard it is to win. Sometimes people think that, it's just easy, you roll the ball out, you score more points than the other team, right? But we've done some pretty special things, and that's not guaranteed this year. There's no recipe for success, right? We're entitled to nothing in this world, and we have to earn every single game. Our conference is really good. Yeah. I don't think people understand how good the coaches and players are in this league. So I know there's one guy in this room who's not taking it for granted that we are preseason #1, but that means nothing to us, and we got to go out and prove it every single night.
It's interesting you mentioned alumni. How often during the off season and whatnot, or even during that run last year, I know we're previewing this year, but Would an alum come up to you or shoot you an email or a text or something like that? I imagine that happened more than once.
Yeah, we're a tight-knit community
That's
here.
awesome.
You
That's
know
great,
that.
yeah.
You can't go anywhere
Yeah.
in the Milwaukee area or where I live in the Jackson area without seeing
Yeah.
some sort of a WLC alum. So it's fun, and I think that's what makes this place special is just the sense of community. Is that when you do have success, it's not just our program, it's shared success with all WLC alumni and friends and family.
Your schedule, and you mentioned Friday night, the opener against Elmhurst here at the Time of Grace Center at the Rex. It all begins with the non-conference, the thing you have control over. What did you want to accomplish? What do you hope you accomplished with the non-conference opponents that you were able to put together?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I hope to account. Yeah,
Heavy exhale.
It's unique. I think this is probably our toughest non-conference schedule we've ever had in my tenure here. And we did that by design.
Sure.
Number one, we thought we had a group that could compete, right? And I think regardless of the outcome of kind of our non-conference schedule, it's going to help us become a little bit more battle tested. We had a few tough non-conference games last year, but I'm curious to see what the end result is of our non-conference SOS and how difficult it really is, because I really think it's one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. So we're setting ourselves up for, to not necessarily always have instant success, although we're trying to win every game, and I think we can win every game, but we're really trying to be the best version of ourselves in March, and we're taking a little different path to get there this year.
Before we play 5 questions, I do want to give you, as I've given all the coaches, we've done all previews all season long, a chance to shout out your staff, because it's much more than a one-man show, and we should mention you and your staff were the coaching staff of the year in the NAC, and I've always liked the fact that, I don't know if it's been recent, that they kind of tweaked the name from Coach of the Year to Coaching Staff of the Year. But give those guys a shout out. I know they're back there right now grinding away.
Yeah, we actually have 3 other assistants in my office right now watching film.
Yeah. It's
Trying
that big of an
to prepare.
office. Can you imagine?
It is that big of an office, isn't it? But Donnie Robbins, and he's in his 3rd year here. He is a awesome coach and mentor for our current student athletes. He kind of helps spearhead the defense and does a phenomenal job of kind of looking at the game from a different lens. We have 2 WLC alums who have turned into graduate assistants this year. Andrew Brugink now goes from a full-time teacher, part-time / in-season coach, to having him here day in and day out starting in August. So that's been really good. Kind of mentoring him. He has a great basketball mind. So he's brought some new kind of insights to how we should be playing, because he loves studying the game. And then we have Cole Hartke back, a 2022 grad who spent a year in the junior college level. So excited to have his enthusiasm and his insights to the game. He is the son of a longtime high school coach, Wade in Illinois, and just brings, again, another unique perspective going from, player recently, being in 2022 now, to coach. That sometimes as I get a little bit older, a few more white in my beard, I sometimes lose focus on some of those different things that he does a really good job just kind of highlighting behind the scenes. And then we have one new assistant, Tony Baratieri, that I'm excited to have. He has been our head coach of my son's 4th through 8th grade team, another great basketball mind who was in coaching early in his career, got out of it to run a family-owned business, and have kind of seen him work with young men day in and day out the last few years. And I think he's turned me down 3 times, and the 4th time was a charm to get him in. So I'm excited to have him in and kind of get him going this year and trying to get his feet wet in the college game. And he's going to bring a great wealth of knowledge, experience, mentorship for our current student athletes.
Well, and I would mention too, while those are the guys with you this year, and you're too modest to say it, so I will. The Aaron Aanonsen coaching tree is something to take note of, and we won't get into it now, but what you have done cultivating your assistants and preparing them for careers as head coaches at other institutions, D1, D2, 3, I mean, all the levels of college coaching has been something to follow. It's got to make you proud. I mean, I know you're a modest guy, but there's a sense of pride there in seeing those guys go out into the coaching world themselves.
Yeah, it's fun. You can go at a couple different angles when you're trying to hire coaches, right? You can hire some veterans who are just looking to have that experience and kind of be a part of the game, right? Like Donnie. phenomenal man, does a great job in his IT field, but just wants to be around and coach, right? Or you can hire, some young up-and-coming guys who have a lot of career goals. I think the staff the last couple of years has had a blend of both, which has been really good. But it's really exciting to watch all those former assistants, have some success. We talk all the time, case in point. I was watching South Dakota basketball at 9 p.m. last night till 10:30, and believe it or not, my guy's pinging me by about 10:45. Hey, what'd you think, Coach? Hey, how do we look game one? So basketball can bring a lot of people together, and that's the cool part about this game, this institution, is it just brings so many people together for the common good.
Yeah, former assistant Sean Smith. Now a coyote. Don't call them coyotes. I made that mistake a long time ago. I was corrected. It's a coyote. One day we'll just have a chart here. We could have like the Aanonsen coaching tree, and then we can demonstrate all those names. All right, let's wrap this thing up. We're going to play 5 questions, Coach. You and I have never done this before.
Okay, here we go.
First answer that comes to mind, don't overthink it. Number 1, Chipotle or Qdoba?
Well, I overthink every answer, so that's very difficult. Both have really good intangibles and characteristics. I love both depending on the time of the day or time of the week. Probably got to give the edge to Qdoba because they're a corporate partner.
That was just number 1. Number 2, what sound annoys you the most?
My wife's alarm.
Oh.
That was a quicker one.
It was?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where you were going there for a second, too, so you added alarm. Number 3, how long do you think you could last in a zombie apocalypse?
I don't know what a zombie apocalypse is, so
Zombies are taking over the planet. How
probably
long could
not
you
long.
last?
I'm not very tough. Less than a minute.
Wow. I'm out. Number 4, how long has it been since you last checked out a book from a library? Yeah.
1 month ago, because I had to check out a book for my daughter.
That's a lot more recent than me. Number 5, the musical instrument you don't play, but if you had time, you'd love to learn how.
Full disclosure, I can't read a music note. Not musically inclined. My kids can play the piano, though, so we'll go piano.
Okay. Bonus question. What does head coach Aaron Aanonsen offer as a piece of advice to basketball player Aaron Aanonsen back in the day? If you could address yourself, how would you coach yourself?
Don't make the game bigger than what it is. Just a game. It's meant to have fun. Play with joy. You don't have much time to play this game because you're going to get old and gray like me. So just enjoy playing. It's a gift, so enjoy the gift you have.
The season begins Friday night, 7 o'clock against Elmhurst. The 15th ranked Wisconsin Lutheran College Warriors taking on the Jays here at the Time of Grace Center. Ani, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Best of skill. Thanks for watching, everybody.